I'm, like many people, was quite amazed by the effects of COVID and the amount of effect it's had and the little effect it's actually had on the marketplace. I've talked to a lot of real estate agents, and whilst they probably didn't have the same number of listings, they've had good months and sometimes record days. So I found it quite amazing, given that, you know, I thought the whole industry would go into a meltdown, basically. Yeah, the resi prices since the pandemic. And if you look across the board, it's all through Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth. And if you look, basically there's been a fall of about 0.5% in values since COVID, which isn't a great amount. Annually for Brisbane, we're actually up 4.4% in values, which is quite impressive. And we've had a bit of a fall since COVID of about 0.5%. So it really hasn't affected property values yet, which, you know, seems to be in line with what most real estate agents are saying. We're about 20% or 20 to 23% down on what the number of listings that we had last year. And obviously that's just consumer confidence. No one wants to really list during a pandemic situation. And that's what's keeping the prices going. So if you've got an established housing and the Brisbane market is really quite strong, then we're finding that because the number of listings aren't there and there's still demand for housing, that the prices are still staying fairly strong. Clearance rates are actually down by about 14% over the last year. So that's not a great sign, but then again, it's a different way. People are looking at auctions and inspections and all those type of things. But still, we're getting a lot of reactions after auction and sales going through. So this shows basically investors over the last few years. So if you look at Queensland, we had about a 40% investor rate back in around 2015. And that's come back down to 24.4% currently. And that can be a number of reasons. China has, for the last year or so, not been a great participant in the unit market. And we're also finding a little bit of interstate investment down, which does have a big follow-on effect in a lot of areas where I do a lot of my work at Yarrabilba, Flagstone, all those Logan areas, all those expanding areas, which are traditionally strong investor areas, and also for units, obviously, around the city. We're finding that the sales numbers have actually come back dramatically. First home buyers have gone up. So the last few years, from being around 20% to being about, what's it now, 28.3%. So there's obviously been a number of government incentives to bring them back into the market. And if investors are going down, then obviously first home buyers are looking to get into the market. So this gives you an idea of the unit market, number of sales. So if you look at that, I think it's around 2016, it hit a high with a number of units. Obviously there's a lot of construction around that period. And there were a lot of sales to investors, overseas investors. And if you look at the last 3 years there that we've got there, basically what we're finding is they're the resales or the sales to the current market, because the investor market basically for units has fallen dramatically. So Homeview's a very new suburb. It's been developed over the last 3 or 4 years with a lot of infrastructure around it. They're coming up to, I think, one of the last couple of stages of the estate. And sales have been quite strong throughout the period. But if you look at the median prices, they're coming back a little bit now. So it's showing you basically that the highs were the investor prices, and the prices that they're getting now are basically what the owner-occupiers and first home buyers are looking at buying at. Yarrabilba's been developed over the last, say, 6 years. with great infrastructure, schools, shopping centres, etc. However, now it's going from being an investor type situation back into an owner-occupied type of situation, and local agents are finding it very, very difficult to sell to the local owner-occupiers. So prices have been coming back a little bit.